3D. The endless possibility of creating whatever you have in mind, just thinking that there is a possibility to shape your scariest dream, to animate your weirdest fantasy, to create a damn movie by yourself, is enough to provide me a lifetime of enjoyment. So, as I am making a living with 3D, I wanted to choose a work that can match this ambition, and one of them is being an environment artist. The environment artist is a very generous role. You learn a lot of things, but at the same time, as it is a lot to process, you don't need to know everything. Each of the different aspects of the work we are going to see can be a specialization that you can focus on for a lifetime if you want to. Also, this is the occasion to do a summary of what is coming on the channel, as every part we will have preview on this video will have its own dedicated video. Depending on the scale of the studio, your role will be more or less diverse. In small studio, you are doing everything except things that concern the character part. A non-exhaustive list will be, for example, modeling, sculpting, texturing, look development, lighting, set dressing of the environment. I will explain to you what these fields are. In bigger studio, the work is split with asset people. What I consider being an asset is every 3D singular element by opposition of shot element. Basically, a shot will be composed of singular 3D assets that will be later dressed inside the shot. So the asset people are dealing with the hero asset, the main one. We also not doing lighting in Mix Studio, and as we are more people, we all have our little specialization where we shine more than in the other fields. For example, mine so far was look development on both Houdini and Katana, as well as texturing. Just to have an overview and maybe awaken new passion in you, let's dive into every step. First, there is the modeling, the process of creating three-dimensional representation of an object. I will go quick on modeling as I already covered the really basic of modeling in all the previous video in our series from Zero to Pro. This knowledge is essential to be in environment. Even if you are not doing modeling, you have to understand what is happening on the model. And I consider it essential in every field. Understanding the model you are working with is the basis of everything. With modeling comes the UV step that I also covered in the last video. And after UVs, there is the sculpting. It is a process of, yeah, you guessed it, sculpting, exactly like in real life. For sculpting, I always used ZBrush in production. It is such a different software than the other, but so powerful at the same time. A use example will be for doing mountain details, for destructed objects, basically for doing high-end details on our objects. We use it as well to create displacement map. That is a grayscale texture used to deform the surface of a 3D model during rendering process. Lighter values raise the mesh, darker values lower it. We can also use it to do normal map. It is a texture that allows the illusion of geometric details to create the appearance of depth, or bumps, or scratch, or whatever you want that have kind of depth, without actually modifying the model geometry. And we can also do bump map, it's the same thing, but less accurate, that can actually be used as well, depending on your need. Okay, we have all our model ready. What's next then? It's the set dressing, which is literally just dressing the object in a harmonious way to achieve a desired look and feel for our environment. It helps add visual interest and realism to the set. You can place your object by hand, but we don't do that when it comes for example, full forest. We don't place the trees one by one. We are using scatter. That means we are creating clouds of points on a surface, on our ground, and we are stencing packed version of our trees on those created points. It is a lot lighter to render, as it doesn't have to calculate all the geometry of the trees, and property like rotation, scale, density can be randomized for natural variation. After, or sometimes before set dressing, I am jumping in Mari or Substance and start the texturing process. We are creating texture maps for physically based shader depending on which rendering software we are using. Right now for me it's Arnold, but previously it was Wonderman. No need to learn them all, pick the one you prefer, and all key principles are the same, so you will not be lost while switching rendering engine. While we are doing proper texturing for important assets and small objects, it can happen that on bigger landscape with mountain and huge ground, for example, we skip this step and do a procedural material directly in look development. I have found on that, and it's quite an advanced technique, so I will show you that in a full proper video on the subject. Various types of texture can be applied during the texturing process, but the most common ones that I am always rendering are first, diffuse texture. It specifies the base color and appearance of an object. Normal map, as I said earlier, it simulates small surfaces details by encoding normal information. Specular roughness, which is a map to control how shiny or rough a surface will appear. And with Arnold, I also need a metal map just to determine which part of an object are metallic and which are not. Of course, sometimes you need many more, like subsurface, specular weight, bump, clear coat, but the list is long, so let's jump directly into Lookdev for now. Lookdev or look development is a funny step. You take everything that you've done before, you model, dressing, texture, and you plug everything together while praying that it will match. Texture are going into shader at this step, that you can modify completely to make them more believable and fitting more inside your shot. If you need a bit of dirt everywhere, you can do that in look development. But it is also a time for doing procedural shading if needed. As I said before, I will not show you that here as it is quite long and it will have its own dedicated video, but what is cool about procedural shading instead of painting is first, you don't really need UVs, so it's convenient on really big assets, and also it's totally non-destructive. It's a nodal workflow, not a layer one, so you are working with a lot of flexibility. You can go back, you can add mask, you can add everything on top, you can use attributes coming from your scene. I can literally talk to you for hours about this, and I will do it in a special video, but now is not the time. As you can see, it is really a broad profession, and the fact that every year new tools are popping up makes us lifetime students in our work. I am making environment personal project every month, and I am happy about less than half of them. So don't beat yourself up while rushing through all the theory of every aspect of the job. Just start practicing little by little in the category that you like the most. Then, when you feel comfortable enough, increase your knowledge by having a look at another aspect of the job. And in any cases, do not worry. With hard work and dedication, you will find success in your passion, regardless of natural talent or expensive degrees. So stay motivated.